What's up, everybody, and welcome to another edition of High Mythology, the show where we get higher than Helios' chariot, pulling the sun across the goddamn sky, and tell you guys silly stories from mythology and folklore. Tonight, we are going to be jumping back into some Greek mythology. Yeah, we've got 3 awesome adventures planned for you guys. Couple of fan faves from the Greek side. It's nice to jump back into Greek. I feel like it's been a minute.
Yeah,
it's been a hot minute. They do got some of the best stories. I mean, hashtag dicks out till Athens. Yeah.
And then dicks out till infinity.
Dicks out till infinity.
What was that? That was the one.
That was what's his name? With his dick out. Theseus.
There we go.
Yeah, Theseus, the never pant wearing guy.
Oh, it's just dangling dong.
I'm just hanging dong on a ship with 12 men.
Now be ready for that merch. Be ready for that merch. That one's coming.
Yeah, be ready for the hang dong merch.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna have a whole line of hang dong.
Yep.
We do got some cool stuff. We're sipping coffee right now. Unfortunately, not out of High Mythology coffee cups, but we aim to change that very soon. We do have High Mythology coffee cups available.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna upgrade in the future and get some cool stuff.
Get us some coffee so I can stay awake to give you guys these stories.
Yeah, we might even get a buy me coffee so you can actually buy us coffee.
That'd be so nice. Thank you.
That would be so nice. We would appreciate it.
I would definitely.
But yeah, I guess let's go ahead and jump on into this. Dicks out, dicks first.
I don't think anyone's dicks out in this.
Nobody's dicks is out.
They don't explain that.
They don't explain that.
Maybe
it may not be. No one knows. They didn't mention it. It wasn't relevant to the story.
If that's how you imagine the story, then good for you. You know what? Certain people just can't.
Yeah, I imagine all Greek mythology with dong hanging. All the great myths.
Now that makes me think about other stories. I'm like, oh, can you imagine fighting the Minotaur with your dang ass?
I feel exposed.
Like, that's how the Blackbeard's pirates would fight to throw off the English. And they wouldn't fight. You know what I mean? Like, so the Greeks had no modesty. You know what I mean? Like,
I helicopter my dong around in protest.
It also has its own sword.
It has its own sword. Yeah, take the sword.
And a little pirate hat for it.
Oh, God. Oh, no. It's black pubes.
It's the eye patch.
It's got an eye patch.
It just covers the tips.
Yeah.
Weird. Okay, so let's get into it. We got Pantheon.
Pantheon. Patreon?
Python?
Pantheon. Phaethon. Phaethon?
I don't know.
Phaethon?
Pathan?
Phaethon? Peyton? Peyton? Is there a Peyton here?
All right, so anyway. The Sun Palace... The palace of the sun was a radiant palace. It shone with gold and gleamed with ivory and sparkled with jewels. Shiny. Everything without and within flashed and glowed and glittered, and it was always high noon there. Shadowy.
Just cowboy. I just imagine cowboys just killing each other in the street all day long.
Amongst radiant palaces. Nice. Shadowy twilight never dimmed the brightness. Darkness and night were unknown. Few among mortals could have long endured the unchanging brilliancy of light, but few had ever found their way thither.
Tither.
Nevertheless, one day a youth mortal on his mother's side dared to approach. Often he had paused and cleared his dazzled eyes, but the errand which had brought him was so urgent that his purpose held fast, and he pressed on, up to the palace, through the burnished doors, and into the throne room where the surrounding by blinding light. Blazing splendor, the sun god sat.
So he was blazing on some splendor.
Mm-hmm. That's what we learned.
It's the hybrid, indica dominant hybrid.
It's 42%.
Yeah, it's good
You
stuff.
want to try?
Yeah.
There was a lad.
I imagine Helios would be the type to do dabs.
Why not? Just a flick of his finger.
Yeah, exactly. Sun dabs.
There, the lad was forced to halt. He could bear no more. Nothing escapes the eyes of the sun. He saw the boy instantly, and he looked him over very kindly. He asked,
Howdy, what brought you here?
The youth answered boldly, I have come to find out if you are my daddy or not. My mother said you were, but the boys at school laugh when I tell them that I am your son. They will not believe me. I told my mother, and she said I had better go ask you. Smiling, the sun took off his crown of burning light so that the lad could look at him without distress. He said,
Come here, you son of a bitch. What do you think this is, a fucking Maury Povich show? You are my son. Clemini told you the truth. I expect you will no doubt my word too, but I will give you proof. Ask anything you want of me, and you shall have it. I call the Styx to be witness to my I call on the band Styx, the greatest band that's ever been created, to be witness to my promise, the river of the oath of the gods.
No doubt Pathon had often watched the sun riding through the heavens and told himself with a feeling half awe, half excitement, it's my daddy up there. And then he would wonder what it would be like to be in that chariot, guiding the steeds along the dizzy course, giving light to the world. Now at his father's words, this wild dream had come possible. Instantly he cries, I want to take your place, Daddy. That's the only thing I want. Just for a day, a single day. Let me have your car to drive. Beep, beep.
Beep, beep. Well, turns out he was right, because this Helios doesn't have a chariot. He has a T-top Trans Am. seven cassettes of sticks, always loaded up.
70 power horsemen. Whatever.
Yeah,
I don't know. Cars.
It's got a V8. Yeah. All of his shirts are sleeveless.
It's a V8. It's not even that bad.
It's not even that big of a car. Towing capacity is not that great. That's why it takes a whole day to get the sun across the sky. It's like a 2-mile drive for him.
Oh, wow. The son realized his own folly. Why had he taken that fatal oath and bound himself to give in to anything that happened to enter the boy's rash young head? He said,
Listen up, you son of a bitch. The only thing I would have refused you. You know I cannot refuse. I've sworn by the band Styx, the most greatest and best band that was ever created, and I must yield if you persist. But I do not believe you will. Listen. While I tell you what this is that you won't. You're Clymeni's son, as well as mine. It was backstage at a Styx concert that I met your mother. You're mortal, and no mortal could drive my chariot, unfortunately. Mortal hands weren't meant to touch the stick shift of a 1984 Trans Am. This is a trans-American, you son of a bitch. Wow. Indeed. But no God. No God. Listen, pretty much nobody can drive my fucking chariot. That's what I'm saying. Nobody's cool enough, and you don't know where to bang her. You got to bang under the dashboard to get the starter to work.
Not even Jupiter?
Not even Jupiter. No. The ruler of the gods can't consider the road. It rises up from the sea so steeply that all my 8 horses can hardly climb it. Fresh though they are in the early morning, just morning steam just coming from my cigarette while I bump sticks in my T-top.
Smoke this joint.
Worst of all is the descent. So precipitous that the sea god waiting to see me waiting to receive me and sell me a bag of weed. Wonder how can I avoid a falling in headlong? To guide the horses to, you can't handle a fucking Trans Am. That's what I'm trying to tell you. The fiery spirits get hotter, and man, it's hard to control. It just likes to burn out. You don't even be hitting the gas. It just you fancying that there are all sorts of wonders up there, cities of the gods full of beautiful things and shit? Nothing of the kind, you little son of a bitch. Just open road. You'll have to pass beasts, like fierce beasts and shit, like crazy beasts. There's this guy named Earl up there. I still owe him $20. He'll probably want that from you. There's a great ass, big ass crab. I caught crabs from that thing. And I'll try to harm you and shit. But be persuaded. Look
They're
around
the constellations.
you. Yeah, they are. Through the constipations. Oh, yeah, the lion, the scorpion, the crab. You get fucked up by stars.
They will try to eat you.
See all them there goods the rich world holds? Choose from them your heart's desire, and it shall be yours. If what you want is to be proved, my son, my fears for you are proof enough that I am your father, but we can still take this on the goddamn Maury Povich show.
But none all the wise talk meant anything to the boy. A glorious prospect opened before him. He found himself proudly standing at the wondrous car, his hands triumphantly guiding the steeds that Jupiter himself could not master. He did not give a thought to the dangers his father detailed. He felt no quiver of fear, not a doubt of his own powers. At last the son gave up trying to dissuade him. It was hopeless, as he saw. Besides, there was no time. The moment for starting was at hand. Already the gates of the east glowed purple, and the dawn had opened her court full of rosy light. The stars were leaving the skies, and even the lingering morning star was dim. There was no need there was need for haste, but all was ready. The seasons, the gatekeepers of Olympus, stood waiting to fling the doors wide open. The horses had been bridled and yoked to the car. Proudly and joyously, Pathon mounted it, and they were off. He had made his choice. Whatever came of it could not be changed now.
He pulled sticks out of the cassette player and threw in some Van Halen.
Put in some Pantera.
Yeah, fuck you, old man. Yeah, he put on some Pantera. He moved up a whole generation. Fuck you, old man. Metal or die.
I know, right? Shit. I lost my place. Okay. Not that he wanted to in the first exhilarating rush through the air, so swift that the east wind was outstripped and left far behind. The horse's flying feet went through the low-banked clouds near the ocean as though the thin sea mist and then opened up into the clear air, climbing the heights of heaven. For a few ecstatic moments, Pathon felt himself the lord of the sky. But suddenly there was a change. The chariot was swinging wildly to and fro, and the pace was faster. He had lost control.
Goddamn pause attraction!
Not he, but the horses were directing the course. The light weight in the car, those feeble hands clutching the reins, had told them that their driver was not there.
Told you couldn't handle the goddamn Trans Am.
They were the masters then. No one else could command them. They left the road and rushed where they chose, up and down, right to left. They nearly wrecked the chariot against the Scorpio. They brought up short and almost ran into the crab. By this time, the poor charioteer was half fainted with terror, and he let the reins fall. That was the signal for still more mad and reckless running. The horses soared up to the very top of the sky and then plunged headlong down. They set the world on fire. The highest mountains were the first to burn. Ida and Helicon, where the Muses dwell, Parnassus and the heaven-piercing Olympus. Down their slopes the flames ran, and the low-lying valleys, and the dark forest lands, until all things everywhere were ablaze. The springs turned into steam, and the river shrank It was said that this is then when the Nile fled and hid his head. I don't know. Which is still
because they
hidden.
couldn't find the head of the Nile.
Which is still hidden to this day.
Yeah, because it ran away and it hid.
In the car, Pathon, hardly keeping his place there, was wrapped in thick smoke and a heat as if it was a fiery furnace. He wanted nothing but to escape this torment and terror and have it end. He was welcoming death even. Mother Earth, too, could bear no more. She uttered a great cry which reached up to the gods. Looking down from Olympus, they saw that they must act quickly if the world was to be saved. Zeus seized his thunderbolt and hurled it at the rash, repentant driver, and it struck him dead, shattered the chariot, and made the maddened horses rush down into the sea. Paphion, all on fire, fell from the car through the air and to the earth. The mysterious river Uranus, which no mortal eyes have ever seen, received him and put out the flames and cooled the body. The Naiads, in pity for him, so boldly and so young to die, buried him and carved upon his tomb, "Here Paphion lies, who drove the sun god's car. Greatly he failed, but greatly he had dared." His sisters, the Helenes, the daughters of Helios the sun, came to the grave to mourn for him, and they were turned into poplar trees.
Ouch.
On the banks of Uranus, where sorrowing they weep into the steam forever, and each tear as it falls shines in the water, a glistening drop of amber.
Me.
And that's it. That's the story of Paphion.
He tried to drive his dad's Trans Am and he couldn't handle it.
It was just everything caught fire. Just completely ruined the engine.
Just completely. He blew the tranny. That's gonna run $15 easy. Where's his dad gonna get that money? You know how much they pay him for trucking the sun across the sky?
Huh.
Nothing.
Okay.
Moving on.
We have Pegasus and Bellatron.
I know one of them. Bellerophon.
Bellerophon.
There's
a few stories to this guy, too.
He's a Bellerophonian.
Like how he got his name and shit.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll get into it later, though. We'll talk about that at the end.
What?
I've heard a couple different.
We don't talk about Bellerophon.
We do in this.
We do, motherfucker.
In Ephyr, the city later called Corinth. Glaucus was king. He was the son of Sisyphus.
He was a son of syphilis.
Who in Hades must forever roll that rock uphill.
Yep, that motherfucker.
Because he had once betrayed the secret of Zeus. Glaucus, too, drew down on himself the displeasure of heaven. He was a great horseman, and he fled his horse's human flesh to make them fierce in battle.
We've talked about that guy before.
Yeah.
Reference our Troy episodes.
Such monstrous deeds always angered the gods, and they served him as it had served others. He was thrown from his chariot, and his horses tore him to pieces and devoured him. In the city, a bold and beautiful young man named Bellerophon was generally held to be his son. It is rumored, however, that Bellatron had a mightier father, Poseidon himself, the ruler of the sea.
Yep.
And the youth's surpassing gifts of spirit and body made this account of his birth seem likely. Moreover, his mother, Eurynome, although immortal, had been taught by Athena until in wit and wisdom she was the peer of the gods. It was only to be expected on all scores that Bellatron should seem less mortal than divine. Great adventures called to such one, and he, as a mortal, great adventures would call to such a one, as he, and no peril would ever hold him back.
No peril shall hold me back.
And yet the deed for which he is best known needed no courage at all.
Oh, I forgot about his great deed. It's me on RPG games. Arrow, 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 arrow to the knee, arrow to the knee.
Keep going.
Keep going.
He needed no courage at all, no effort even. Indeed, it proved that what men would swear cannot be done must not be hoped for. The great power on high can give into his head an easy mastery. More than anything on earth, Bellatron wanted Pegasus, a marvelous horse which had sprung from the Gorgon's blood when Perseus killed her. He was a winged steed, unweary of flight, sweeping through the air, swift as the gale of wind. Wonders attended him, the spring beloved of poets. Hippocrene on...
Hippocrene.
Sorry.
Hippocrene.
On Helicon, the Muses' mountain, had sprung up where his hoof had struck the earth. Who would catch and tame such a creature? Bellatron suffered from hopeless longing. The wise seer of Corinth, Polyidus, to whom he had told his desperate desire, advised him to go to Athena's temple and sleep there.
Just go crash out in Athena's temple. What's the worst that could happen, right?
The gods often spoke to men in their dreams, so Bellatron went to the holy place, and when he was laying deep in a slumber beside the altar, he seemed to see the goddess standing before him with some golden thing in her hand. She said to him,
"Hi there, honey, are you asleep? Nay, wake. Here is what will charm the steed you covet, you covetous little scamp."
He sprang to his feet. No goddess was there, but a marvelous object laid in front of him. A bridle all of gold such had never been seen before. Hopeful at last with it in his hands, he hurried out of the fields to find Pegasus. He caught sight of him drinking from the far-famed spring of Corinth.
I'm so thirsty.
Perini, I guess is what the river is called.
Perini.
And he drew gently near. The horse looked at him tranquilly, neither startled nor afraid, and suffered himself to be bridled without the least trouble. Athena's charm had worked. Bellatron was the master of the glorious creature. In his full suit of bronze armor, he leaped upon his back and put him through his pace. The horse seemed to be delighted in the sport as much as himself. Now he was the lord of air, flying wherever he would, envied of all. As matters turned out, Pegasus was not only a joy, but a help in time of need as well.
Could you imagine getting hit with a horse shit from the sky?
That's quite the bird shit.
Walking through dungeon, 5 pounds of horse shit.
What the fuck?
Ow!
If it magically hit somebody, it would probably knock their ass
Exactly.
out.
You just wake up covered in horse shit. Like,
eat?
what the
Rocks?
fuck happened? Was I trampled by a horse?
This man's been in coma for 3 years.
What happened? Pegasus shit from 150 feet and it just clocked him right in the dome.
Pegasus purposely waits to go over the ocean. The ocean is the toilet, guys. I gotta go here. So unless you're a mermaid, get out of the way.
Yeah. He's aiming it at people.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, look, it's that son of a bitch that walked by my pen and didn't give me an apple.
Imagine if he had, diarrhea, though. It would be, such a mess. Can you get it? By that kind of water. It'd be like, it's about to rain. What is this? As he's just peeing on them as they go down. Now, does he pee when he goes downhill, too? Because the velocity of the thing. Because I was watching a video the other day where, this giant elk just bent his head down to eat. And all of a sudden, he just starts getting peed on.
His own face.
I was like, wow.
So, yep, that's evolution failing for you, right?
Yeah, for real. For hard trials lay before Bellatron. In some ways, we are not told how to expect that it was purely through accident. He killed his brother and went to Argos, where the king Potrius purified him.
That's just crazy right over that. Now listen, I'm not going to talk any shit, but I'm just saying it probably wasn't legal that he killed his brother. Moving on, he went to see a guy in Argos.
Well, since
What?
since it's actually mentioned it, I'll explain this a little bit more to you. It was said that before he went to go get Pegasus, Bellatron and his brother were out hunting together, and Bellatron was the name of his brother, so I can't remember what his name was, like Bellamy or some shit. But the Bellatron that we know saw a stag and shot it, but when he went over to it, it was his brother. And in the god's eyes, that's still like bad taboo. You don't kill your fucking brother. It doesn't matter what you saw.
His brother's like, I dressed up as a stag to sneak up on you. Totally worth it.
Jesus. But Bellatron took his name and like then he went off and found Pegasus and shit. That's what I was told anyway.
Before I die, take my name and delete my browser history.
But yeah, he does go to the king of Argos to get purified by him. Regardless, he does come here.
He does. He does
And
go
this
get to the Argos.
is where his trials begin, and his great deeds as well. Anita, the wife of Enidia,
Anidia.
the wife of Protra, the king of Argos, fell in love with him, and when he turned from her and would have nothing to do with her, in her bitter anger, she told her husband that his guest had wronged her and he must die.
You see the way he looked at me?
Now, apparently, like, she told him that, like, he had raped her and shit, and he was like, what?
What?
But, enraged though he was, the king of Argos would not kill him. Bellatron had eaten at his table, and he could not bring himself to use violence against him. However, he made a plan which seemed certain to have the same result.
I'm gonna slap the shit out of him in the middle of the Oscars.
He asked the youth to take a letter to the king of Lycia in Asia, and Bellatron eagerly agreed. So the king of Lycia is the king of Argos' wife's dad.
Yes.
Okay.
I think actually I'm pretty sure this ties in with some of our other hero tales.
I think they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of these do. These are just side adventures.
Side stories.
I thought it would be fun.
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's cool to see the side quests.
But yeah, Zeus, if you've given meal to your guest, Zeus
you're not supposed to kill him.
You can't.
You can't kill him once
Zeus
they've
gets
eaten
pissed.
your food.
Like, that's Zeus's fucking rule, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it's the same thing with Christianity, too. Is it?
It's the same thing with Game of Thrones.
Mm.
Hashtag the Red Wedding of Rome.
No, it's the Norse, usually, but then, no.
Yeah, no, Norse have the same rules. A lot of them have the same rules.
Yeah. Anyway.
A lot of them didn't give a fuck. But...
yeah. The long journey meant nothing for him on Pegasus' back. The Lycan king received him with antiquity, hospitality, and entertained him splendidly for 9 days before he asked to see the letter. Then he read that the king of Argos wanted the young man killed. He did not care to do so for the same reason that had made the king of Argos unwilling, and Zeus's known hospitality to those who broke their bond between a host and a guest. There could be no objection, however, to sending the stranger on another adventure.
Fuck, I can't kill him. Send him to someone else. Hopefully they read it before they feed him.
Him and his winged horse.
He's probably just smart. I know I would do that the second I got to someone's castle. Whoa, before anything, like, anybody got a grape? Grape or something? Something I can eat? Cracker?
Some wine.
Got a cracker? Okay, good, I'm good.
Well, it's usually bread, I believe.
Give me some bread. Anybody got bread?
You have to give him bread.
Give me some olives, some Greek olives.
I think it's bread and water. That's why I like bread and water. It's
just a mouthful of olives. Just a mouthful.
That's all I have,
olives.
man. I got some ramen noodles in the back. There's still some bok choy is still going. Oh, so he asked him to go and slay the chimera, feeling quite assured that he would never come back. The chimera was held to be unconquerable. She was the most singular portent. A lion in front, a serpent behind, and a goat in between. A fearful creature, great and swift of foot and strong, whose breath was flame unquenchable.
I like the goat in the middle.
Is that how it lied? But for Bellatron riding Pegasus, there was no need to come anywhere near the flaming monster. He soared up and over her and shot her with his arrows at no risk to himself.
Pew, 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 sucks to suck, nerd.
Now, I heard he went back to Athena and to try and figure out how to do it. She told him how to do it.
Yeah. She told him, it's the age-old trick, is you get out of the enemy's sight range, and as soon as you're far enough away they can't get you, you just pepper them with arrows. And then you can beat the whole game like a puss.
Interesting.
Yeah.
When he went back to the King of Argos, the latter had to think out other ways of disposing him. He got him to go on an expedition against the Salome.
You must fight 100 loaves of salami.
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 Mighty warriors. And when Bellatron had succeeded in conquering these, on another
easy.
quest,
They all just use cured meats as weapons.
Like, he keeps going back to, like, after he finished killing the Chimera, he goes back to fucking the King of Argos. And the King of Argos is like, fuck. So he sends him out on this other thing, and then he's got to beat all these warriors. And
the funny thing is, he probably doesn't even know they want him dead. He's just like, yeah, these guys are giving me some cool quests.
I know, right? He's like, I'm not afraid.
That's why I do love Greek mythology characters, because they behave like I do in a video game.
Yeah.
Like some other mythologies, it's like, I have to do a task and I'm sad about it. Greek mythology is like, cool, another epic quest. Let's go. Maybe I'll level up or get some cool gear.
After this, he went up against the Amazons, where he did equally well. And finally, the King of Argon was won over by his courage and his good fortune, too. He became friends with him and gave him his daughter to marry. They lived happily thus for a long time. Then he made the gods angry. His eager ambition, along with his great success, led him to think thoughts too great for men. The things of all others the gods objected to. He tried to ride Pegasus up to Olympus. He believed that he could take their place there with the immortals. The horse was wiser. He would not try the flight, and he threw his rider.
Fuck no.
Thereafter, Bellatron hated the gods and wandered alone, devouring his own soul and avoiding the paths of men until he died. Pegasus found shelter in the heavenly stalls of Olympus, where the steeds of Zeus were cared for. Of all of them, he was the foremost, as proved by the extraordinary facts the poets report, that when Zeus wished to use his thunderbolts, it was Pegasus who brought the thunder and lightning to him.
Oh, bring the thunder.
And so it says.
Yeah, and it was Bellerophon who brought the rain. Because, he was crying like a little bitch.
He just kind of fell off the fucking mountain.
Fell off my horse. I want my horse back. I can't pew-pew anymore without my horse. People will actually make me fight. Well, moving on. I believe, right? We've got one more?
Yep, last one. Otis and Ephialtes.
Affiliates. At least I think so.
This is part of the Odyssey. But not in the Odyssey
side story. Odyssey's coming up in the future, folks.
Yeah.
We're going to do the Odyssey. So get ready.
It's popular.
Yeah.
These twin brothers were giants. They did not look like the monsters of old. They were straight of form and noble of face, Homer says they were. Tallest of all that life-giving earth with her bread ever nourished. Handsomest, too, after peerless Orion alone. Virgil speaks chiefly of their mad ambition, and he says that they were twins, huge-bodied, who strove with their heads to destroy the high heavens, strove to push Jupiter down from his kingdom supernal. They were the sons of Amphidia.
Ephemedia?
Some others say it was Canis. At all events, whoever their mother was, their father was certainly Poseidon. Although they were generally by the names of Adelaide, the sons of Alois, their mother's husband.
Eloise.
Wow. They were still very young when they set about proving that they were the gods superior. They imprisoned Ares, bound him with his chains of brass, and shut him up.
We made him hit himself with his own fist. Just like big bully.
Quit
Stop hitting yourself. Oh, I thought you were a big tough god of war, huh? Stop hitting yourself.
The Olympians,
catch my loogie.
Wow. The Olympians were reluctant to try to free him by force. They sent the cunning Hermes to his assistance, who contributed stealthily by night to get him out of his prison. Then the two arrogant youths dared still more. They threatened that they would pile Mount Pelion on top of Mount Ossa and scale the heights of the heavens, as the giants of the old had piled Ossa on Pelion before. This passed the endurance of the immortals, and Zeus got ready his thunderbolts to strike them. But before he hurled it, Poseidon came begging him to spare and promising to keep them in order.
I'm so sorry. My sons are complete idiots. I don't know where they got it from. I tried to raise them well. I told
Clearly
them
their
two mountains don't make a ladder. They don't understand that still.
Still, they're going to try.
They tried to give Hephaestus a noogie.
I don't know. I know. I'm sorry. Zeus agreed, and Poseidon was good at his word. The twins stopped warring against heaven, and Poseidon felt pleased with himself. But the fact was that the two had turned to other plans which interested them more.
He got him an Xbox.
Otis thought it would be an excellent adventure to carry Hera off. And Aphiletes was in love with Artemis. Or thought he was. In truth, the two brothers cared only for each other. Theirs was a great devotion.
You want to steal a pair of goddesses just for fun?
Yeah. They drew lots to decide which should first seize his lady. The fortune favored Aphiletus. Pedophilus.
Oh, his name changed a lot there.
I can't remember what he said. Aphiletes. They sought Artemis everywhere, over the hills and in the woods, and when at last they caught sight of her, she was on the seashore, making directly for the sea. She knew their evil purpose, and she knew, too, how she would punish them. They sprang after her, but she kept straight on over the sea. All of Poseidon's sons had the same power. They could run dry-shod on the sea or on land.
Did you say dry-shod?
Yeah, dry-shod.
They can run just dry-shod. As long as they keep the chode dry, they're good.
So the two followed her with no trouble. She led them to the wooded islands of Naxos. And there, when they had all but caught up with her, she disappeared. They saw instead the most lovely milk-white deer spring into the forest. At the sight, they forgot the goddess and turned in pursuit of the beautiful creature. They lost her in the thick woods, and then they separated in order to double their chances of finding her. At the same moment, they each suddenly saw her standing with her ears pricked up in an open glade, but neither saw the back of the trees. Just beyond her was their brother. They threw their javelins, and the deer vanished. The weapons spread across the empty glade and into the woods and found their marks. The towering forms of the young hunters crashed to the ground, each pierced by their spear of the other, each slaying and being slain by the other creature he loved. Such was the revenge of Artemis.
Yeah, you don't fuck with Artemis.
Artemis was a badass. She would fucking murder you.
Oh, you're looking at me? Are you looking at me wrong? Because I will turn you into a deer and I will have your dogs eat you. Yeah.
For real.
hope you folks enjoyed the episode. That's it for tonight. That's
Yeah.
all we got.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned for the future.
Come back next week.
Yep. Check out some merch. If you haven't already, check out some merch.
Absolutely. We got some good stuff on there. I got more coming.
We got more coming. More stuff
I
coming
hope you
in
like
the
them because
future.
I've worked very hard on these.
Yeah,
I made
she
them.
made some cool designs.
I made these designs.
I made it.
I got some talent.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll be back next week. Oh, yeah, our main source, Mythology, Timeless Tales of Gods and Heroes by Edith Hamilton. Yeah, good stuff, though. I'm happy we went back to Greek.
Yeah.
I'm excited to eventually get to the Odyssey.
Can you imagine him riding Pegasus with his dong out the whole time?
Yeah, no, he had armor on. They made a point of it. At one point, they're like, and he had armor, bronze armor all over.
He just said bronze. Well, all over means just the chest, right?
Just the tip. He just has a little helmet on the tip of his tongue.
He's got a little soldier helmet.
He's got the little horse hairs, just like the Spartans.
I got him a shield and a cape.
I got him a shield and a cape. Little chest plate.
I don't know, like I started just envisioning that one fucking weird, what was that movie, Super Bad, where the kid was just drawing dicks all the time?
Yeah, exactly.
Like the end of that shit, I'm like, I'm just imagining it, just like all these little dicks out with their little
This
army
is
helmets.
Sparta.
He's got a mohawk helmet.
Yeah, mohawk helmet, yeah.
Added effects.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, but check us out wherever you get your podcast, man. Check out our merch. What was that website?
Teespring, teespring.com/high-mythology-merch.
Check it out. Buy some.
Yeah, check it out. And let us know what you think too. Yeah, we've been getting a lot of love lately. Huge thanks to everyone.
Yeah.
As of recording this, I believe we're number 7 on the Good Pods.
Oh wow!
Indie top 100 indie comedy fiction podcasts, and number 13 on the regular, not indie, which means we're competing with people that have budgets, and we do not.
We don't. No.
Yeah. So
We
all
do
the
this
love
all
we
in our
could
spare
get would be
time.
appreciated.
Yeah. Get us a coffee.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wherever you're
Please.
listening, give us let us know what you think. Give us a review. Give us a comment. Click on some stars. Whatever it is you do. We appreciate it. We love you, folks.
Be on the lookout for our Twitter polls.
Yeah, we're going to start doing some polls on Twitter. So be on the lookout. And our Twitter is @HowleyBoys. That's HAOLEBOYS.
Yes.
Yeah. Check it out.
See? Stay tuned for the Tales of Tricksters Part 2.
Oh,
next
Trickster
week.
Tales Part 2 coming up.
Next week.
What is this? Your balls for dinner?
No, but I do got 9 stories coming for you guys. I hope you like them.
Yeah.
They're weird.
They're weird. That's the thing I realized about the last Trickster Tales is tricksters fuck.
All the time.
Just prepare yourself because tricksters fuck.
Yeah, I'm going to go real soft and gentle with you. I'm going to take a hard turn with you for a couple stories. Just be aware.
I'm going to ease it in nice and gentle, and then I'm just going to boom, thumb right in the starfish.
Hard fucking right, dude.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Hitchhiker's thumb in the starfish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That shit happens.
Yeah. Well, good night, everybody.
Bye. Chocolate starfish.